Welcome everyone from figureskatingdebates.com. I got dressed up for the occasion, especially for all of you, because I have so enjoyed my first year as tuning into Figure Skating Debates. Thank you, GMRO, for being an amazing site moderator or leader, keeping us up to date on everything at all times. You're so wonderful, and how to watch things, things that we don't know, competitions that I've never heard of. You're always on top of it. I'm so grateful, and I'm sure so many of us are. So welcome from wherever you are. I am putting a picture of the flags. I have them displayed in my room. Everyone, and this is going to be highlights of the year, and there's so much to cover, and there were so many competitions nowadays with juniors and everything. This could be a terribly long, and I'm sure you don't want it to be for me, so I'm going to try and just condense it, and I hope this brings back some good memories from the whole season. I have so enjoyed everything people have posted this year, and reactions, opinions, different programs from now and from times gone by, how to view things, questions, answers, and just thank you to everyone who participates in the site. And it's really such a welcoming site, Gia. Thank you so much, and for everything that you do. All right, here we go. Year 2022-23 wrap up. Here we go. I have a quick shout out to a couple of countries. England, thank you very much for hosting a Grand Prix event this year. I think you did a fantastic job. I thought the crowd was fantastic and enthusiastic. Chris, I'm sorry they're not taking that another year there. Finland, thank you as well. And again, we will have a competition, a Grand Prix event in Finland next year. And then I wanted to thank also Japan, because being a skating fan in the United States, it is a sad time in our in fandom here, because if you hold something in a large arena, there's like no one there. And Japan, I mean, Jason was skating the whole year in shows, okay? And then they hosted Worlds and World Team Trophy, and they, from what I could tell, were so supportive and cheering and encouraging every skater, no matter who they were, where they were from, or what, they were just skating fans, and I loved it. Japan, you came through, okay, and made our skaters feel like, our global skaters feel like $1 million. So thank you. And Heather Little, I know you're in Japan. I'm sure we have other people on Figure Skating Debates who are there. So thank you. As you might be picking up on already, well, I love this quote. It's okay if you don't like figure skating. It's kind of a smart people sport anyway. LOL, you guys are all included in that. I have been known for throwing parties like my whole life. And I threw a lot during the pandemic over Zoom. So I was thinking, hey, some of my friends here from skatingdebates.com or Skating Debates might enjoy doing a Zoom party at some point for a competition next season. So let me know if you guys are interested. I would gladly organize that, and we can do that across time zones and across oceans. Yes. So as you can see, I mean, I've been collecting these posters, some of them for years now, and doesn't everyone decorate their hotel room when they go to a competition? I mean, yeah, I had a star for like all the skaters. So, and I had a shirt made for Dan and Max. That's just accumulation of American and Canadian hair and accessories for like my whole life. But you know what? Life is short and unpredictable, and we have had some hard years lately. And you know what? I just decided to celebrate. So, and I think it's great to celebrate every day. That's just my opinion. You guys might think I'm loony, but if you would like to be a part of a Zoom party next year to watch something, let me know. On to a post-Olympic year. Now, we all know that following the Beijing Olympics, there were a lot of things happening. Normally, there are quite a few retirements, and there were again this time, especially in the field of pairs, where only 3 of the top 16 pairs from the Olympics continued skating. Now, we had the highs and highs and the lows of lows at some of these are from some of the Grand Prix events, and some are from Worlds, and some are from the Olympics. But it just shows a lot of faces that are no longer on the scene anymore. And I realize this is going back a little bit in pairs, but it was to set the stage for our reigning Olympic champions to stick around for 4 more years and achieve the gold medal, which I'm thrilled for. And then we had the low of lows at the last Olympics, which we all know about. And this isn't even why Russia is not involved this year in the skating picture, although this coach happens to be, which is I don't personally agree with. If the athletes, why are the coaches allowed? But, you know, we had Kaori on the scene still, new people coming up, and it was going to be kind of a wide open field with Russia not included, Belarus not included, and all the retirements as well. What you will be seeing in this video are a recap of the Grand Prix series and final, Europeans, 4 continents, junior and senior worlds, taken separately, the World Team Trophy, and some 1-minute moments, profiling some things I wanted to take separately, such as Jason's Impossible Dream, Ilia's Quad Axel, Hawaii Ken Baker, their situation, Brady Tennell's comeback, and they will be about 1 minute and tucked in between the competitions. So Sharon Carlson told me it's okay if this video is long because there's a lot of drama and stuff happening, and exciting things, and different people winning, and it was a big season. So this is the billionth time of recording it. So it will be the billionth and final. So I hope I hit all the highlights and don't make it too long. Ilia's quad axel will take separately, as I indicated before. I have a couple of 1-minute moments that are worth their own little niche of time. Ilia did win 2 Grand Prix events, came in 3rd at the final. You could see that skaters with more experience and more well-rounded skaters ended up finishing ahead of him there, and would end the season also higher than him. He seems very eager to grow as a skater, though, which is a lovely thing to see in a young skater, especially a guy with his technical arsenal, that he wants to do more than that. So we had, Keegan Messing not peaking until after the Grand Prix series, but he had a good final season. He is retired now. He let us know that at the beginning of the year. Shoma Uno prevailed, winning 2 events and the final. Adam Samhimba of France skated very well in the Grand Prix events. We'll see how he did after that. Junhwa Cha was always in contention or doing well, and on the road to really peaking at the end of the season. I missed Yuma Kageyama just for his enthusiasm alone. He's been injured from Japan and was out for the season. Kevin Amos got 3rd in the final Grand Prix event. I believe he was injured for his first assignment and had to withdraw, and that was set up a great end of the season for him. And our other American men did not do terrifically well. I don't think I can watch one more short program where Tomoki Hiwatashi of the United States lands a quad combination in a short and then goes and pops and does a single axel. I think I'm just going to have to not watch that anymore. Yeah. It's time, Tomoki. Okay. All right. So moving on to dance. Dance was, I thought, the most deep field in all of the disciplines this year. A lot of people stuck around. Chalk and Bates definitely are a team that need to work into their programs and grow into them and into the music and the theme and what they're trying to communicate and everything. And they're and then just skate together as one, as they do so well. But it took them the whole season to get there. So they did not have a great Grand Prix. I mean, they did, but they were expected to really dominate this year. Guess who dominated? It was Piper and Paul of Canada. Unfortunately, she had an emergency appendectomy, right after the Grand Prix final where they had won. And I don't think they were scored correctly, really, after that. I felt like people were holding back on scoring them after her surgery. Guignard and Fabry from Italy came on strong in dance. And Fear and Gibson had a great Grand Prix. As far as, gosh, those programs were electric, and you couldn't keep your eyes off that team. And I do love Fear and Gibson. They did not end up medaling at Worlds, and I think had hoped for better. I had thought, seeing them in the Grand Prix, that they could even win Worlds. And I explain my reasoning on that a little bit later as to something they might have done that could have pushed them into the medals. We had the Canadians. We had that beat Chalk and Bates on one occasion. Weikenbaker skated in the Grand Prix and then withdrew for the rest of the season. And that is also one of the 1-minute moments. Okay, so if we go on to pairs, Diana Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps could have won Skate America. It really was a toss-up with Alexa and Brandon. I am definitely biased, I will admit it. But people in the stands were saying that they should have won. I think Alexa had two falls. Their team did. And Deanna Max, that was their best competition of the year. Deanna then contracting this 3-month mystery illness. They didn't know what it was or how to treat it. It affected training, breathing, stamina, swallowing water. I don't know how they persevered. They were an example of courage throughout the season, I felt. And their ages being what they are, an example of just defying the odds and doing the unexpected and what people think is not possible. So that was kind of neat. Even though they ended up 4th in the Grand Prix final, who's to say what can happen next year when they're both healthy? Alexa and Brandon, you knew it was going to be iffy if they could win Worlds because Riku and Ricci came on so strong from Japan. Worlds going to be in their home country. Japan's never won the world title in pairs, etc. And honestly, they deserved the high score going throughout that season until then. The Italian team, Conti and Machi, who ended up 3rd in the Grand Prix final and were really a surprise to be on the podium in many competitions, but now are no longer a surprise. They seem extremely consistent, which is lovely to see. Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud are, I think, a great match in Canada. I used to follow Trent with his old partner Evelyn, and honestly, I think just in terms of her height, Leah's a better partner. I liked Trent and Evelyn quite a bit. Evelyn was pretty tall with Trent, so Leah's height, I think, works better for pairs, honestly. And that is an issue. So they seem extremely promising future. And Worlds being in Canada next year, who knows what could happen. So then let's see. The field was not extremely deep in pairs this year. And that's certainly not the only good teams. The worst costume infraction of the entire year. I'm sorry. I know that someone else is doing costumes, but I would have to say has got to be the yellow and black. I don't even know what it was from the French team in pairs in the short program. I mean, judges talk to you after you're done skating, even if you're like an adult skater. They would have mentioned this costume to them numerous times. I don't know. It was so distracting I couldn't even pay attention to their skating. So, wow. They did actually get a silver in one of the Grand Prix events, the one in France. Let's see, for ladies, Yelan Kim had a strong Grand Prix series. Hyein Lee looked very solid, very consistent. Even if she wasn't always winning stuff, she was always relevant. Isabeau Levito with 2 silvers and a silver in the Grand Prix final. A great way to debut. And Kaori decided at being world champion that she wanted to grow into that role and really make something of even more of herself. So she has challenged herself artistically, working with Raheem Ward and Mary Franz for choreography now. And I think it was just a lot to think about at one time. Totally new and much more complex choreography, as well as still sticking in all the triples and everything. So I think that's what happened. I kudos to her for wanting to be a better skater, all over skater. And she did not medal at the Grand Prix final because she was still trying to put 2 and 2 together, and that I feel like that's totally okay. She's working on improving herself as a skater, so that's very commendable, actually. Lona Hendricks, I felt for her this year because she looked like if she didn't win, she felt like she was last. That's the feeling I got from her. And I don't know if she talked to someone or just had like an awakening about it, but by the world free skate, I felt like she was relaxed, and she was admitting that it had been a tough season for her. It was a lot of pressure put on her when the Russians were suddenly gone from the Europeans. I mean, she was absolutely expected to dominate in Europe. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone. Mai Mihara was the surprise of the season, really, coming in first in the Grand Prix final, and then dropping off a bit after that. Amber Glenn got her first medal in a Grand Prix event with a bronze, and Star Andrews with a classic reaction to finding out she had gotten the silver at Skate Canada. Both deserved those medals. And Gracie Gold skated at Skate America. It was nice to see her. I felt like I saw her enjoying skating, and that made me extremely happy. Yeah, she looked like she was forcing herself to come back to me before. And then Brady Tennell, I have a little piece on her, 1 minute wrap up on her, as I skated with the same coach as she did when she was in Chicago, which is most of her career. So that is the wrap up of the Grand Prix events. I know I left stuff out, but this is take number 6 bajillion, and I can't do it anymore. So those are the biggest things, and I think what it shows is that there was not a consistent leader other than Shoma, really. Yeah, there was not a consistent leader other than Shoma throughout the entire Grand Prix series. So very interesting. Usually there are some people that are gonna always be going for the gold in everything they enter, and that was not the case this year, which actually made it more interesting. Let's see how long this was. The first 60-second moment for you is Ilia's quad axel. First landed in a major competition at the Grand Prix event at Skate America. I happened to be there, and it was like you involuntarily were screaming with amazement as he would go on to land 3 more quads within the next minute. And it was one of the most exciting athletic feats I've ever seen. If you think about it rationally, I don't know that there's anyone out there now, or there will be anyone else who does the quadruple axel. I for sure thought that it was not possible for a human being to do it, and I don't know that another person will. Yuzuru Hanyu had been working on it, but he was a good half rotation short compared to this. It is whatever you think of Ilia skating, the sheer athletic feat, and there are certain amazing moments in all different sports. This was one of them. This will go down in history as one of the greatest athletic moments in figure skating ever. And if you ever get a chance to see Ilia skate, do it. His energy on the ice, and the beauty of the quadruple jumps that he does is without comparison, really. Just to talk quickly about Europeans, just the major highlights was the upset of Luna Hendricks, who was expected to win that and perhaps win Worlds, or certainly contend, by Anastasia Gubanova from Georgia. Kimi Rapond from Switzerland was the surprise bronze medalist there. And Ekaterina Kurakova, who many love the joy with which she skates, from Poland, came in 4th there. That was the major news there. Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabri, who plan to continue skating next year, won the ice dance competition over Fearon Gibson. It seemed like Fearon Gibson had gotten started on such a positive note. I think that they needed to add something or change something fresh about their programs, because their programs were so well received and so polished even at the very beginning of the season. I thought they would maybe contend for a certainly for a world medal, and maybe for even a gold. And I think they needed something fresh added to those programs. There's a surprise, because that is where the lack of the Russian teams really made a difference, was in pairs. Conti and Machi of Italy, and then Gilardi and Ambrosini, also of Italy, first and second, amazing. Germany came in third and fourth. It was a changing of the guards, certainly for pairs. This is where Adam Xiaohemfa won the European title. He seemed on par to just crank out and really contend and be maybe an impediment in Shoma Uno's way. Matteo Rizzo, unlike many skaters, he is a free program skater. He can really make a huge comeback, and he seems to struggle more with the short. He came in second, Kevin Amos in fourth, and that's significant because he ended up having a great rest of his season, Kevin Amos. So that was Europeans. Caitlin Hawaii and John Luke Baker, ice dancers from the United States. They had a good Grand Prix season. People getting out of their way, finally. It looked like they could really contend at the top internationally. And I didn't know she had suffered a very bad concussion during the Olympic year. And also at Skate America, some fans called her over to the stands, which is common, to sign autographs or whatever, but to body shame Caitlin and say some really cruel things, and a lot of things, I think, all combined made the team elect to miss their nationals, miss the U.S. nationals. They were named to the world team. They ended up withdrawing and pulling out for the rest of this season, and I really hope we'll see them back. It's too bad because they're such beautiful skaters, but it brought into the forefront their honesty and transparency, and them putting health and well-being above skating, and I commend them. The biggest takeaways for Four Continents were certainly Hai and Lee. Short program, 6th place, winning the free skate with a glorious free skate, setting yourself up for Worlds and World Team Trophy. Yelim Kim coming in 2nd. They did not send the Kaori and the very top Japanese to that competition. Maddie Skisas of Canada had a very unfortunate season. All told, I felt for her. She was the Canadian, or is the Canadian champion in women's, but gosh, she really struggled this year. I think the pressure seemed to get to her. Cal Mira ended up winning men. Keegan Messing had the skate of his life, and I think it had the free skate and total score highest he had ever scored. So that was wonderful to see. We didn't really factor in men's in the United States, as we did not send our top 3. And people that we might have thought to perform, Canadians, other than Keegan, didn't really factor in. Boyang Jin did not skate well, etc. That is where Riku and Ryuichi of Japan won the pairs event. Emily Chan and Spencer Howe of the United States came in 2nd. Deanna Stellato, Dudek, and Maxime Gichon 3rd. And a real strong showing by Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud, setting them up so well for coming seasons. And with Worlds in Canada next year, that's going to be a very exciting event for them and for Deanna and Max as well, and some other Canadian teams really have a shot to compete there. Ice dance, Madison Jock and Evan Bates finally hit their stride and won over 2 Canadian teams, and that was really the story for Four Continents. Keegan Messing was probably the most memorable performance, and I felt like he kind of checked out after that, and he skated well at Worlds and World Team Trophy, but Four Continents was his peak of the season. The Russian athletes have been excluded from really all sports all year due to the unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, and Russia is still there. They have been reinstated for the Olympics in 2024. Terry Tubriza and crew have been at some of the international competitions, including the World Championships, at the boards, at practices, at competitions, and in the kiss and cry. I very much disagree with this. I understand dignitaries were also invited to, as the guest of honor to Four Continents. A Russian official from the ISU was the guest of honor. So Daniel Grossel has gone to a Terry from Italy. Question mark, exclamation point, and then why? Why are the coaches allowed if the athletes are not? And that's just all I'll say about that. Junior Worlds, all I'll say is Mao Shimada of Japan was absolutely phenomenal. With such a promising future, reminds me of Midori Ito. Kawamura, Japan sent him to Junior Worlds. He easily won that competition. American Lucas Broussard ended up in 7th, which was not expected. He was expected to do better there. Wesley Chu of Canada did not have a good free skate, but he was sent there as well. And that is where Todd Sand, the American pair coach and a former world champion with his wife, Jenny Bino, had his heart attack, and we all wish him well in just the figure skating community and fans. His team, Sonia Baram and Daniel, I don't want to mispronounce his name, they ended up winning the pair title, and an Australian pair and Ukrainian pair were after them. Ice dance, the Czech team, and look to have an extremely promising future, and I believe are going to be seniors this coming year. So we will look forward to seeing them on the international scene as seniors. One of our viewers was heartbroken that just by a couple of hundreds of points, Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez just missed out on a medal there. And we look forward to seeing them in the future. As I understand, they got a point deduction from a lift that was too long, and that cost them a medal. So we look forward to seeing them in the future. The World Championships in Saitama, Japan, saw some excellent skating. Kaori Sakamoto ended up winning kind of narrowly over Haiyan Lee. She skated a phenomenal free skate again. Luna Hendricks really came back from her short program where she had a fall and ended up getting the bronze medal. Isabel Lobito would end up in fourth place. Strong showing for her first year as a senior. Mai Mihara, after winning 2 Grand Prix events and the Grand Prix final, ended up in 5th place. That was what was most noteworthy for the women. The men, Shoma Uno, although he was injured and also took a bad fall during the week, I guess during a practice there, he won. Junhwa Cha had a phenomenal free skate and ended up in 2nd place of Korea. Ilia Malinin, although he skated well, his imperfection in the technical area with not being able to put 2 programs together and then not having the artistic mark to back up his technical yet left him in 3rd, but I think he was actually quite pleased with that. I think he was he understands why it is as it is, and he knew that the skaters ahead of him should have been ahead of him. He seems to have a really sound view of his own skating. Kevin Amos had the skate of his life and was an absolute joy, and I was so happy for him because in both the actually in Europeans, Worlds, and the World Team Trophy, he put 2 solid programs together, and that is not always true for Kevin. So I was really so thrilled for him. Jason Brown of the United States in 5th, without attempting a quad the entire year. Jason gets 5th in Worlds and ends up with 3rd place in the free skate of the World Team Trophy. That was just phenomenal. Keegan, as I said, he ended up at 7th, which is a fine performance, but I think he was already kind of checked out and ready to retire at that point. Adam, from France, in 10th. That was really a shocker, really. So in pairs, we had Riko and Ryuichi, Mirai and Kihara of Japan, winning on home ice, the first Japanese pair title ever. That was pretty exciting. Alexa and Brandon were not far behind, but it was a clear victory for Riko and Ryuichi. And Sarah Conti and Nicolo Machi ended up in getting the bronze over Deanna Stellato and Maxime Deschamps. I don't think that's how they were hoping to end the season, the Canadians, but honestly, the Italians completely deserve that medal. And coming back from what they did, I think Deanna and Max were pretty pleased with their season, because almost any other team that I can think of would have maybe had to sit out the rest of the season, but they are so competitive and devoted to each other and to the sport that I give them all the credit in the world for even continuing through the entire season. For Chan and Hao of the United States to get 5th was phenomenal. And Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud in 6th place, an excellent finish for them. In ice dance, Shock and Bates won, even with a random fall, but it was not on an element, so it only cost them a point. They still got, I think, a world record free skate score, so some people didn't quite understand that, but then we had the Italians, Guignard and Fabri, who are in 2nd, And Gilles and Poirier, I'm really not sure if I agree with that, but the Canadians came in third place. I felt like the judges were looking at them differently, knowing that she had had surgery, frankly. It'll be interesting to see if they continue. I really hope they do. Fear and Gibson in fourth. I thought they might contend for the title at the beginning of the season. And the Canadians in fifth, Green and Parsons in sixth. That I felt like that was the strongest field that existed this year was the ice dance field, the deepest field. Yes. So that was the World Champions for you. People voted on and have in figure skating debates and in the skating community Jason Brown's performance at our nationals in the United States, at the World Championships, and at the World Team Trophy. He is so beloved in Japan, and there was some, thought of why to send Jason. Why not one of the younger skaters from the United States? Why not someone with a quad? Well, look what Jason just did without attempting a quad all year. It was magical, and his programs will be rewatched really again and again. Like Riverdance was in 2014, his programs will go viral. I was so pleased for him, and the United States owes him a favor for sticking around, because we have 3 men going back to Worlds again because of Jason Brown. The programs that Jason Brown skated this year, choreographed by Roheen Ward, who has worked with him for well over a decade, his short and his long, it particularly every nuance is noted in that free skate, The Impossible Dream. They will go down in history. Some of you know that my coach used to be, as an adult, was Jeremy Allen, who's one of Brady Tennell's coaches when she was training in Illinois for most of her career, with Denise Myers also. And although she did not factor in to the medal picture at Worlds and got called for under rotations on basically all of her triple jumps, it was a personal victory for her. You could tell it meant so much to her. And it was a vindication of sorts. When she moved to Colorado to work with Tom Z, we were all worried for her because she had had 2 back fractures. She's kind of a fragile build, and her coaches knew that in Buffalo Grove, and they trained accordingly. Not a million reps and a lot of falls and a lot of crashing to the ice and a lot of injuries, and unfortunately Tom Z is known for that. We were all very concerned. She missed the entire Olympic year. Whatever you think of Brady skating, having an older skater come back and on her own terms, the way she started at the competition in Sheffield, Chris, to the way she ended up, it was a wonderful thing to see on a human level. And, we could talk about the United States not getting 3 women to qualify for next year's Worlds. But there's also something about humanity and dignity and personal victories that I think is very important in sports. And I wanted to include this because I know her as a person, and Denise Myers contacted me after she skated at Worlds when she was so moved by that short program. And people who care about people, like, for example, Caitlin Hawaii. There is something to be said about personal wins and victories more than medals sometimes. The Olympic team event has become pretty credible in skating fans' eyes, but the World Team Trophy has not gained the same importance in people's minds. But Japan did itself proud, and its skating fans proud, by packing an arena, cheering for every skater no matter where they were from, and hosting a fantastic competition right on the heels of the World Championships. I felt like it was a surprise that Team Japan ended in third. I was expecting them, maybe since they had won 3 disciplines at the World Championships, maybe to win. And they had entries that were solid in all of the events. Unfortunately for them, Shoma Uno had to pull out with an injury. In any case, the United States team ended up really dominating, and Team Korea, surprise, surprise, came in second. Their single skaters did so well, and then their dance team, they may have come in 6th, but they showed themselves. I didn't even know Korea had a decent dance team, and they were not at Worlds, I don't believe, and they did quite well. I mean, they were only 5 points behind number 5, so that was amazing. We saw Hyeon Lee just shine here, and Alexa and Brandon, absolutely, this was their best competition for sure of the season. They clearly won. Chalk and Bates had a free dance that some of you who voted on what program you'll rewatch said this free dance and said it was just exquisite. It got a world record score. The thing that won it for the United States team was their lack of weakness, because we know that our ladies are, out of the 4 right now, the least competitive as far as qualifying people for the next World Championships and things in our 4 disciplines. But no one really imploded. That was the thing. I think Amber 2-footed her triple axel, things like that. But everyone did well. And in the free skate, when I saw, because this competition was in the middle of the night for those of us in North America, when I saw that that United States had gotten 3rd and 5th in men's, I was positive that because of just the starting values, it was Ilia in 3rd. Wrong in the free skate. No, Jason Brown came in 3rd in that free skate, and that is one of the that was the winning performance that people will rewatch. People said throughout all of his performances of The Impossible Dream that is probably the one that is most memorable for them, and maybe one of all times. Kevin Amos skated great again. His reaction in the kiss and cry was one of the favorites in the poll. And like I said, Chalk and Bates skated an excellent short and free dance. They really peaked at this time. Deanna and Max came in 4th again behind the Italian team. So that was going to be where they were at this season, was behind that Italian team. And I think that's going to be their goal, is to climb into the medals in these big competitions next year. It was a very exciting event. The performance level did not drop off from Worlds. People were there to skate well. People went for everything. No one watered down their program. And it was a really, really exciting event. And anytime the crowd is so involved and so with the skaters and knowledgeable about skating, it just makes it better for the skaters and for the viewers. And say what you will about the cheesy hats and things and boas and balloons and all whatever, but these skaters hardly have an off season anymore. Deanna wrote me the other day that they've been skating for like a year straight, and I love that they have just a booth of their biggest supporters right there when they step off the ice, whether it goes well or not. They're their team, and individual medals are not given out. And there's something special about that in figure skating, that they've created something for the team, because it was lonely being, especially a single skater, at a World Championships or an Olympics, because you were so focused on your own performance. There was no chance. There are relays in other sports. There other sports are team sports, and not in skating. And this is a chance for people to be just cared for and supported, and celebrate the end of a season, and try and go out with the best performance they can do. Junhwa Cha was fantastic again, as was Hyein Lee. Satoko still was scoring very highly, but that's going to be quite a rivalry next year, every competition of the year. So there was great skating by every country. I felt for Maddie Skeesis to end on that note. I know she's better than that, and she does too. But for Kevin Amos to have like three competitions in a row where he came through was wonderful. The Italian pair team was great. I had to really commend them. And go Team USA. That was, this is the medal that people did not receive from the Olympics because it has not even been decided yet. So this was really a fun event, and really well run and really well skated. All of you for answering the questions on the poll. I really appreciate it. I have compiled the answers, and I'm just going to read the top answers in each for each question. Best kiss and cry reaction went to Kevin Amos throughout the season. So some people said World Team Trophy. Some people said throughout the whole season. The second place to that was Riku of Japan at Worlds, when she saw the results before they were announced, and she hopped up, and her coach was like, no, you need to sit down. Okay, let's see. The next question was most surprising skater or team of the year. Kevin Amos, Worlds. Also Jason Brown's results, beating Ilia at the World Team Trophy in the free. And the Italian pair team, Sarah Conti and Niccolo Macchi. MVP women went to Kaori. MVP men went to Shoma. Close behind was Jason. I think just because his presence brings a different kind of thing to our sport. MVP pairs went to the Japanese team, Riku and Ryuichi. And very close second went to Deanna and Max of Canada. And people kind of gave a reasoning for that. Inspirational. And also bringing adults competing when we have so many young skaters now, and breaking the rules and having that be a very inspirational thing. So even, you know, this wasn't not about who won everything. It was about who brought something to the sport. So people really were complimentary of them. MVP ice dance went to Chalk and Bates. Also was a mention of Hawaii and Baker because they brought light to mental health and the importance of taking care of people, of oneself, and prioritizing that. And I was interested to see that. Let's see, most underscored went to Jason Brown and Hawaii and Baker. And most overscored, also Americans. Let's see, we had Chalk and Bates and Isabeau Levito. People felt were overscored the most often, most consistently. And who you miss most? Well, we don't know about Jason's plans, really, for sure. Keegan Messing was the answer to that one. Let's see, program you'll watch again and again. Jason won, hands down. Both programs. People just said they would rewatch. They were kind of iconic programs for Rahina and Jason to put together. Chalk and Bates was second then with their World Team Trophy because they didn't have any errors in that free dance. People attended for who answered the MK John Wilson Trophy, British Nationals, Skate Canada, US Nationals, Canadian Nationals, Skate America, and the Grand Prix final in Torino, Italy. Let's see, favorite moment of the season. Some people said Chalk and Bates, their World Team Trophy free dance. And then Jason's whole season, really. I mean, he competed in only 3 competitions, and he came through in all of them for the United States. Did this season meet, disappoint, or exceed? Exceed was everyone's answer. I had a couple of quotes. I liked Monica Zimmerman. It was really interesting, and everything was possible, especially in ladies and pairs. Sharon Carlson exceeded my expectations by a mile. I'm still dazed by the quality, including juniors. And Chris Cooper of England, lots of skaters really stepped up their game and didn't miss the Russians at all. So that was the answer to the poll. Thank you so much. I know it was long. Thumbs down, thumbs up. This took me hours and hours and hours. That's a wrap. I can't redo anything anymore. I'm sorry. Sorry it was so long.